Good morning, Vlogmas day 17, and I need to get this apartment in order for my guests at 1 o'clock today. It's a little bit of a mess, and I've tossed on Muppet Christmas Carol while I clean. So I'm going to set the Christmas tea table with this snowflake tablecloth that my grandma gave me this summer. And I've never used it before, so I'm hoping it's the right dimensions for my table. If not, I'll have to switch to the Dollarama tablecloth. So it just about works, and I could pull out the ironing board and iron it, but I think once things are on it, you won't be able to notice the fold creases. It just barely fits. The sides of my table are poking out on either end, but I think it's going to work. And over here at the desk, I'm going to put the flowers back where they belong. And here's my project I was working on last night. I just sent this off to be printed by Staples for their print-on-demand service. I'm hoping they can put together a nice booklet. This is the coin collection booklet I was working on as a Christmas gift for several members of my family with my grandpa's coin collection. And I didn't get as far as I had hoped. I had hoped to do the whole collection in one booklet by Christmas, but you know, we're a week out, and so I decided that the US coins I'd done so far were good enough, and I was going to send it off labeled as, you know, part 1, and the rest can be done up in a part 2 that I can share with my family at a later date. Here's a recipe for pumpkin bread. I am combining 1 1/3 cup of sugar with a 1/3 cup of oil. I'm going to add in 2 whole eggs plus 1 yolk. We're going to add a cup of pumpkin and I think a 1/3 cup of water, but let me double check that. It's been a while since I did this recipe, and for some reason I was thinking I needed the EVAP milk, but turns out I don't, so that can go back in the cupboard. Then you're going to need 1.5 cups of flour, plus 1/6 cup when you're putting it into the pan. And then you're going to add 1/4 teaspoon baking powder and 1 teaspoon baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon cinnamon, and then 1/4 teaspoon or a pinch each of ginger, cloves, and nutmeg. So here's the recipe, and I'm going to bake this at 350 for about 65 minutes. I've made myself a non-alcoholic cocktail with this non-alcoholic gin and this cocktail mix that I got from that charity auction. And I have to say, it's quite delicious. So the tea station is set up, and I've got my assortment of Murchie's loose leaf winter and holiday tea. So there's the white chocolate white tea, the snowflake black tea, the Christmas tea black tea, Earl's Gold, and the Ode to Joy. And then over on this side, I've got the chai robois, the spiced apple, the cinnamon cardamom, and the Murchie's peppermint in the tea bag. So that should be plenty of options for all my guests. And I still have more varieties in the cupboard, but these I think are the most Christmassy, most holiday themed. And if somebody really wants, you know, a plain black tea or a plain Earl Grey or something, I can pull that out. So there's the pumpkin bread all cut up. I put half of the loaf on the serving tray here, and I put the rest in this tin, and whatever's left will be sent home with the friend who requested that I make the pumpkin bread. So for my Christmas tea, I am wearing this red velvet top, and let's see if I can show you. It's got these fun bell sleeves, which reminds me of stuff I wore as a kid in the early 2000s. And the table is starting to come together. There's the pumpkin bread covered up, and some Christmas crackers, and chocolate cream, mint cream. There's some peanuts and M&Ms and Quality Street and Merci, and there's some cheese and stuff I've got to pull out, and somebody is bringing some fruit and stuff, and someone else is bringing some drinks and stuff, and it's going to be a delicious table here. So Christmas tea was a success. We had some goodies and exchanged some gifts, and I got a pair of new slippers that I'm wearing now and quite enjoying. Let's see. And this Earl Grey candle was gifted to me, along with a box, just a plastic box to hold tea bags, and I'm going to fill that up in a bit. And one of my favorite gifts I received today is Zach Bryan's self-titled album that came out this past year, and I absolutely love that album, so it's great to have it on vinyl. And I got some hot chocolate packets and a couple of books which were on my wish list. So we've got one titled The Love Affairs of a Bibliomaniac, and this is by Eugene Field, and I'll show you the book a little bit in more detail in a minute. So here is The Love Affairs of a Bibliomaniac. Just this bluish gray cloth. And this is from 1896. And I believe, yeah, it's not essays, but it is a, quote, series of sketches on the delights, adventures, and misadventures connected with bibliomania. And there's some poetry in here, but it is mostly prose. And this other title by Agnes Rupley are would-be essays. And there's a book plate in here. Je suis prête, meaning I am ready, from the Fraser Institute. And this is from 1924. And so it includes 12 essays on various topics. Puritanism, the Council of the Doubtful. Are Americans a timid people? Certainly not. The happiness of writing an autobiography. Strayed sympathies. The divineness of discontent. Allies. They had their day. The preacher at large. The battlefield of education. The American laughs, and the adulterous dog. So those should be fun. But that's going to be all for Vlogmas today. I'll see you all again tomorrow.